My name's Scott, and welcome to Portland, Oregon on a beautiful sunny spring day. We haven't seen sunshine for several weeks, so it's a very, very nice feeling to be out in the sun with flowers out here. Today what I would like to do is talk a little bit about my favorite fishing lures that I like to use when I go salmon or steelhead fishing. And so the first one is called a spinning lure. This is a Blue Fox number 4, and the number indicates the size of the lure. And so this is my favorite size. And what this does is the blade, and it spins around in the water. And what it does is it emulates a small minnow when you're fishing. And one of the advantages of a spinner is that you can cover a lot of water with it. It's got some weight to it, so you can throw it out really far, and you can cover a lot of water. But I've probably had more strikes on a spinning lure than any other lure. So this is lure number 1. The second lure is called a spoon, and this is a spoon right here. And similar to the spinner, it's quite heavy. It's actually heavier than most spinners. This is called a little Cleo spoon. So you can cover lots of water, and what this does is it wobbles in the water, so it kind of just wobbles back and forth. And again, a salmon or steelhead thinks that this is a small minnow, a little tiny fish. And it produces, when they strike this lure, they strike it usually pretty hard, and so it's a fun way to catch fish. So this is probably my second favorite lure. And moving on to what we call a jig. This is called a jig. This is a black jig. It's got a couple red beads right here. And you fish jigs with a bobber. This is what a bobber looks like. Obviously the bobber is above the jig. And when a fish bites the jig, the bobber obviously comes down underneath the water. You know that you have a fish on, and that's when you pull your rod back, and hopefully you've hooked them. This is a fun way to fish in slower moving water. It's also a fun way to fish if you have children, somebody that has not fished that much. It's an easy way to fish. You don't get a lot of tangles. So it's good for slower water, and if you have children or new people that have not done a lot of fishing. Another way, this is called a plug or a pala. This is a lure that a lot of times you fish during in fast water when there's a lot of current. This lure is fished a lot when you're in a boat because it sits in the fast-moving water and it dives down deep in the water because of this lip right here. And when some of the other methods aren't working, a lot of times the plug does work. And again, it's usually fished out of a boat. So it's another way to catch a salmon or steelhead. The last way that some lure that I use, this is a fly. It's called a wet fly. So again, you have to have a fly rod when you use this type of lure. And this fly usually sits just a little bit underneath the surface of the water when you're fishing it. And it's really fun if you catch a steelhead on a fly rod, because it's usually a lighter weight, and you can really feel the fish in the fight a lot more using a fly rod. So those are the different types of lures, my favorite lures that I like to use when I go salmon and steelhead fishing. I would highly recommend you to try fishing if you've never fished. It's great to take a child, somebody that has never fished before fishing, and they can feel the fun and the excitement of a fish. So I hope you've enjoyed my video, and if you get a chance, come out to the Pacific Northwest, and I hope you can go fishing.